Hey guys, this is Ashley, personal trainer and weight loss coach. Today we're going to talk about something a little bit different. I'm going to be sharing with you how I actually ran a marathon in the middle of this quarantine situation, and what we're going to talk about is really why I did it, how it went, and I'm going to break it down for you kind of phase by phase, not exactly mile by mile, but in chunks. And then we'll talk about some lessons I learned from this experience. This is a great video if you are considering running a marathon, or if you've never done it and you're curious about what it's like. It'll be some good information for you. So I'm happy to share and get you guys this information. It's going to be fun to talk about. So first I want to start with a disclaimer though that I've never run like a proper marathon before, where you sign up and you get your little bib and you run with like hundreds, thousands of other people, whatever. Never done that before. However, years ago I did challenge myself to running. I don't know if I did the full 26 miles or if I only did like 20 miles, but I know I was challenging myself to do more and more distance running beyond the half marathon because I had done that before. And again, never anything official. I've never signed up for a race. As someone that jogs frequently, it's very strange to me that people pay money to run when you can just go run for free. And I just kind of don't get it. I just don't. However, I'm open to trying it in the future. So maybe one day we'll have a video where I actually run like a legit marathon. I think that would be interesting. But I don't know, every time one comes up, I'm always like, why do I want to pay money to do something I can do for free on my own? I don't know. But I think I might try it one time and see how it goes. So let's talk about why I decided to do this. So first of all, a marathon is 26.1 miles if you didn't already know. So that's basically what I set for myself as a challenge, that in one stretch I was going to do the full 26 miles, 26.1. And I started by slowly increasing my distance in my usual jogging routine. Before I was doing like 3 to 6 miles, and then upping that until I was doing 10, doing 13, doing 10 on a pretty regular basis. And then we made the plan to do it yesterday to go for the 26 miles. I say we because I was talking heavily with my husband about this and discussing whether or not I should do it. Personally, I feel one of my strengths in life is I have really good endurance. It's very strange. It's a weird strength, I think, to have. I would almost rather be like really fast, like a sprinter, or really strong where I can like do crazy max reps. But really, my strength just seems to be in enduring. That I've never thrown up during a workout. I've never like passed out or whatever. I mean, sometimes I might get a little nauseous, a little dizzy, and I worry that these things could happen, but never do. My body just endures. That I can go through, I think, pretty much anything and still be standing somehow. So I wanted to see if I could do the 26 miles. So that's kind of why I went about doing this challenge, and fully believing that I absolutely can. Again, I haven't met a workout yet that I can't get through. So I felt like I can do this. So I really wanted to push myself, prove to myself that I can. Now, a few years back, I said I was doing more distance running a few years ago. And what happened then was my knees were starting to get kind of bad. And over the past few years, my knees, my ankles, my heels, I've been having some troubles, so I haven't been running nearly as much. But I spent a lot of time resting, recovering, figured out what it was that was causing the pain in my knees, worked on that. So then I was able to begin building up my stamina, doing more distance to prepare for this run. So it felt like my knees, my ankles, my heel were in a pretty good place. And we'll get more into that when I talk about how it all went down. But I felt like I was up for the challenge, so that's why I did it. Just wanted to prove to myself that I could, and to just give myself that chance to try it and do it. So if you want to do a marathon, it's only 26.1 miles, and you don't have to sign up or pay someone a fee to do it. There's plenty of sidewalk for everyone. So head outside and you can get it done. But let's jump into how this all went down. before I jump into the how, if you're wondering how I'm feeling now, the next day, the day after, pretty good actually. I'm surprisingly good. What I did for recovery was immediately after the run, went to HEB and bought 2 10-pound bags of ice, filled up my bathtub with cold water, dumped in 20 pounds of ice, and sat in that for a little while. And that might be more miserable than the run. It's not more miserable than the run, no, but it's pretty not fun, but it's very good for your muscles. So I'm actually feeling pretty good today. I felt much worse yesterday. I really thought I would feel horrible today, but I feel pretty great. We'll see how Friday goes, because delayed onset can sometimes hit 2 days later, but today feeling pretty good. Yesterday definitely a bit stiff, but I did my ice bath, did some stretching, drank a lot of water, and it was bad, but not horrible. I think been more stiff, more miserable in the past. It was just my knees and my ankles hurt so bad yesterday. That was the main thing. But today they actually feel great. So that was a really quick turnaround. So let's hop into how this all went down. So I started at 6:25 a.m. I was supposed to start at 6, ended up starting at 6:25. It's my personal marathon. I can start when I want to start. So I was running late. 6:25 started, and miles 1 through 6 really felt good. My pace was actually much faster than I wanted to be. I was aiming for 14-minute miles, which isn't anything fast. I just wanted to basically pretty steadily jog throughout. That's all I wanted. And I figured, I was going to end up close to 6 hours, but I wanted to try and get to about 5.5, maybe 5 if I could. Anywhere between there would be good for me. That's what I was hoping for. So started at 6:25. My pace was actually really good. I was hitting some 12-minute miles. I think I might have had one 11-minute mile in there. I am not fast, especially because of my knees, and I have to be very mindful of my stride and my posture and things in order to keep my knees and my ankles from hurting. So I have to be very focused on my gait and what's going on. So I don't run. I just kind of jog, but I steadily jog. So did pretty good, keeping the pace. I felt really good, felt awesome. The only thing was I drank some water before, and then I had to go to the bathroom. But you can't go to the bathroom in the middle of a marathon, so too bad. So just kind of kept going anyway. That's going to be one of the lessons at the end, but just kind of kept going, get through it, had a good playlist. And actually the first few miles I just started off actually in prayer. It was really early in the morning. I wasn't really ready for music yet. So listened to like a prayer tape recording, did that, and then after that put on some soft kind of like R&B jazz type music. Because my pace is so slow and steady, I don't really have to listen to like amped up music when I run. So mile 1 through 6, smooth, easy, no problem. So miles 6 through 12, we started to see a little bit of a change. Was starting to get bored, so I started recording myself on Instagram. So my Instagram story was like me going through this marathon. Shared that with everyone, and that was, cool, whatever. It was just something to try and distract myself, really. So I recorded how my marathon was going as I did it. Hey guys, I am about 10.5 miles into my marathon today, and I just wanted to record a video. I'm on pace, so that's good. I had hoped to be faster than pace right now so that I'd have more time later, but at least I'm on pace. So nearly to halfway, about 10.5 miles in to 26. The park I run at is only a quarter-mile loop, so 26 miles of a quarter-mile loop, just going around and around and around. So it can get a bit boring, but luckily the people watching is very good. A lot of people coming and going from this park. There's a lot of dogs and really cute stuff. So there's lots of stuff to look at, lots of kids playing, so that keeps me from being like totally bored. So that was helpful. But I was starting to slow down. So my pace that was going like faster than my goal was now kind of at goal, occasionally a little slower than I wanted. And I was like, oh no, it's happening, and it's happening much earlier than I thought, much earlier than I wanted. So then I changed my playlist and picked up the tempo a little bit. Tried to go a little faster, but I could tell it was going to be interesting. I've done 13 miles plenty of times before, so 6 through 12, 13 was a little boring, but I was able to endure. I wasn't feeling bad, just a little bored, a little almost tired of doing this. And yeah, just kind of losing a little motivation, I guess, at that point. So mile 13 through 20 is where the rubber meets the road. That was where it really got tough. That was when I started to actually have pain. That was when my knees started to hurt, my ankles started to hurt, my calves were trying to cramp up on me, my legs were getting stiff. So I had planned to take the occasional break to do a little light stretching in between, just kind of pull off to the side, stretch, get back out there jogging. I had to do that a lot more than I planned, and it was getting to a point where I was like, this is not fun anymore. So that was really tough. It was starting to really hurt. It became more of a mental thing at this point, where I knew I could keep going, but it was much harder, mile 13 through 20. And I Googled it after the fact, after the marathon, that, people that run marathons talk about hitting the wall. And apparently that's where most people hit it, right there between the 13th mile and the 20th mile, somewhere in there. Usually it sounds like around like mile 18. That kind of sets in, the wall hits, you slow down, not feeling good. All right, I'm at about the 20-mile mark. And yes, I've resorted to power walking for just a little bit. I just needed to regroup, had to stretch a little bit, and things hurt, but I'm gonna be all right. I'm on the home stretch now, so I'm excited about that. Gonna take an ice bath after this and eat watermelon, so it's all gonna be good. I remember being slightly, for just a little while, a little bit dizzy maybe, drank some water, kept going. It was not pleasant, but hurting, a little bit dizzy, and drank the water, felt a little better. But then I remembered that I had some pre-workout set aside, so that just in case this happened. So I took my pre-workout right about the wall. Probably should have taken it a little before the wall, but the pre-workout did like nothing, so that was disappointing. I guess the intensity is so high that the pre-workout just wasn't helping. I know for me, when I take the pre-workout that I take, it's a natural supplement. It's not as, it doesn't get you as hyped and jittery as the stuff they sell at the gyms a lot of times, the more synthetic stuff. This is a natural option, so I took that. And usually when I take it, I just find that I'm more alert, focused, but not necessarily like hyped up, full of energy. That's exactly what happened for the run, but I did need the mental focus and clarity to be able to push through, but it's not like it gave my legs all this super energy. That did not happen. Didn't really help much at all. So that was 13 through 20. Mile 20 through 26 was gruesome. I really thought that I would hit the 20th mile and be like, 6 miles to go. Oh, so we're almost there. Let's just like sprint it and be done, Like 6 miles is like nothing at this point, right? Like I've done 20 miles and there's 6 left. But oh my God, it was just like, at this point I was just like, okay, keep putting one foot in front of the other. Keep going. Just keep going. Just don't stop. That was kind of what I kept telling myself, because it was just so hard. And my pace was abysmal. It was completely abysmal, 20 through 26, because it was like just a battle just to keep moving. Those were some of my slowest miles. And to speak to the previous phase, I noticed that my watch broke somewhere around the 13th mile, and I was using it to track my distance. So what happened was, when it's in workout mode, apparently, like, I don't know, it said I was doing 10.5 miles for like 2 more miles. It was still like, yeah, 10.5, and I was like, no. So I would have to like go out of the workout mode into its like regular settings and check like my step tracking to see how far I had gone, and then kind of cross-check it with my phone, because I was running with my phone in my hand. So that's also checking my steps and stuff. So then I would kind of cross-check to see about where I was. So that made it interesting. So mile 20 through 26, I kept checking and kept checking. I was like, surely I am at 24 miles. And it was just like when you get on the treadmill and you're like, oh, I'm going to run a mile, and you are going and you're like, surely it's been a mile, and you look and it's been like 0.2 miles, not even like a full quarter mile, you know, and you get really frustrated on the inside, like surely this treadmill is broken and lying to you. That is what it felt like, mile 20 through 26 entirely. I just kept checking and checking, like, what do you mean it's only 22 miles? What do you mean it's only 23 miles? And just trying to keep going. This is where the calf cramps really set in. I think it was during about mile 20 that I sent my husband a text like I don't think I can do this. It was getting tough, really, really tough. I really thought, and I was very disappointed with myself, because I was like, I thought I'd be so energized by the 20th mile, and it was the total opposite. I was just like nearly ready to tap out. And the sad thing is I kept thinking to myself, like, I know I can do this. If only my knees and my ankles didn't hurt so bad, and if only my calves weren't cramping up. But like, I don't know, I have a spirit that's like, I can do it. Like, I can, but physically my body was like, you can't. And so that was interesting. But I kept pushing. So texted my husband, I'm not okay. Told him about my calf cramp, and he was like, okay, like, you need to stop and stretch. And I'm thinking, like, I don't want to stop and stretch, I want to be done. But you know, I did some little mini stretch breaks that did help, but I honestly think jogging through it was the best thing I could do. So for like my calves, I kept kind of trying to stretch, wasn't really helping that much. It helped for like a second, and then it's right back. So I just made up my mind, screw it, I'm just gonna finish, and just kept jogging. And I don't know if I went numb to it, or if maybe, I don't know, but for whatever reason, I didn't feel it so bad once I just kind of made the decision to just keep going until it's done. So that was mile 20 through 26, where I obsessively checked my watch from mile like 25.5 to 26.1, where I was just like checking the phone, checking the watch, checking the phone, checking the watch, like surely it's 26.1, surely it's 26.1. And finally I crossed. I started at 6:25 a.m. I finished a little before 12:30. Let me see, did I write that time down? I finished at 12:15. So did it in 5 hours and 50 minutes. Not a time I'm proud of. For someone who's 31, I don't know why I told you guys that, but anyway, I should be running at least like a 5-hour marathon, and I did 5 hours and 50 minutes, nearly an hour over. So I am a little disappointed in that. I do think there are factors that affected that. I think had it been like a traditional marathon with like a group, maybe I could have paced a little better. I do think if there had been like a crowd and people like handing me water bottles and things, you know, that could have helped shave a few seconds off of my time. And maybe it would have been a little more motivating, so maybe I would have kept a better pace again. But doing it just on my own at the park, dodging around people walking their dogs and stuff, whatever, may have taken some time off. So I'm happy with my time, that at least it was between 5 to 6 hours. What I absolutely did not want was to be over 6 hours, because then I would have felt like, are you a turtle? Like, so I'm really glad that I did it in the 5 hours, 50 minutes. I just really would have preferred to come in closer to like 5.5. That would have been like a sweet spot for me. With my knees and ankles, I didn't anticipate doing it in 5 hours or, you know, 4:55 or something like that. I knew that wasn't going to happen. So overall, I'm okay with my time. I'm not thrilled, but I'm not horribly disappointed. Had I been 10 minutes slower or 15 minutes slower, I would have been pretty horribly disappointed. But for first time back in a long time, really doing a long distance, I think that was good. We'll see how the next one goes. And I think there will be a next one in the future. Obviously right now I'm recouping. Today is no running, which is pleasant, but also I'm so used to running every day now. I'm kind of like, should I just go walk at my park? Like, what should I do? I don't know, got used to it, but I feel pretty good. Feel really good today. I did not eat like crazy after the marathon. I know people tend to have this idea that like, oh, you should like go eat like pasta or something, or before the marathon, you know, carb load and all this. I didn't do any of that. I'm also personally in a bit of a weight loss phase right now. Post-marathon, I weighed myself. Of course, I'm just super dehydrated, but I came in at like 119, and I haven't seen the other side of 120 since like high school. So I was like, look at that. I was really excited. But of course, it's like a lie. Like, I was just super dehydrated. So we'll see. But yeah, I didn't eat anything crazy beforehand. I didn't go eat pizza or spaghetti, and afterwards I didn't reward myself with drinks or whatever. Kept my diet pretty much exactly the same. I treated myself to some watermelon afterwards. If you don't know, for me, when I'm going through a tough workout, I like to motivate myself with food. So occasionally, like through the run, I'd be thinking like, we're gonna have watermelon. So we're gonna have some watermelon. It's gonna be delicious. I bought a good one. It's sweet. It's gonna be great. And that helps motivate me. So I enjoyed the heck out of my watermelon afterwards. Even though I may have looked like crap, but that was delicious. And then I just had my salmon and salad like I usually would, and no big deal. That's what I did. That's what it is. So let's get into lessons learned from this experience. I definitely learned a lot about doing the marathon. The 26 miles is tough. When I do the 13, like I feel good after a 13, after the half marathon. And so I thought, surely it can't be that bad to do another 13. It's a huge difference. So it was a good experience to do that. Lessons learned, I think a lot of lessons learned can actually apply in life as well as to marathons. Let me see, I wrote down some tips. Definitely it's a mental toughness challenge, but it proved to me that I am 100% capable of doing anything I put my mind to. Like I said at the beginning of this workout, I know I have really strong endurance. Haven't met a workout yet that I just like can't do. And so it was good for me to prove that to myself, that it's true, that I can go run 26 miles and I'm not gonna die. And, you know, I can survive and make it through, and just really using my mind to go even further than my body. Because there were many times where if it was just my body in it, I would have quit. But I'm no quitter. So one of the things I kept telling myself too is, you know, I'm not a quitter. Like, there's no way I can quit. I think actually putting it on Instagram too kind of helped, because I was like, well, now I'm in this, like, I have accountability. People know I'm in the middle of doing this marathon challenge, so I had better finish it, and I better finish it in a decent time. So that helped as well. Another lesson I learned was to stop and stretch. Sometimes you have to take one step back to take 2 steps forward. I would say up until probably the 20th mile or so, the occasional stretch break really was helping, where it felt like one step back, where it's like, oh, I need to be jogging, but I'm going to stop, I'm going to stretch it out. And then sure enough, when I start going again, it's like, oh, wow, my knees feel so much better. Oh, wow, my legs feel fresh. And I was good, you know, it was really, really helpful. So it's worth it to take the one step back and take 2 steps forward sometimes. But I would say beyond the 20th mile, the stretching was no longer helping. It was actually like giving me a chance to feel it more intensely, because I had stopped running. And I felt like at that point, just running through the pain was actually better. That may not be the safest tip to recommend. I know my body, and the pains I was having wasn't like injury pain, but just, you know, fatigue, overuse pain, all out of glycogen pain, and lots of lactic acid. So I knew it wasn't like an injury. I wasn't like wounded, but I was feeling it. But sometimes you just have to fight through it. You just have to keep moving, and you have to run through it, and actually just keeping yourself moving, not letting yourself slow down, actually does get your circulation going, and and it can actually help. So that's something else that I learned, that there is a time for stretching and there is a time to just press through. And you kind of have to know your own body to gauge that, but both work, and you just have to see which one is working for you at that time and get through it. Other takeaways were that for me, whenever I stop or I walk, that's like when the pain really set in. So don't do it. So towards the end, I started kind of realizing, maybe after mile like 15 or 16, I was like, okay, every time I try to like slow down my pace, thinking that's going to help me, or walk or stop and stretch, like that's when I suddenly become very aware of how much everything hurts. So it's better to just keep going so I don't feel it. And so that's one of the lessons that I took away, is that if I could walk less, like don't think that, oh, I'm going to go above my pace and then I'm going to walk for a little bit. Because if you do that and you average out to the pace that you want, you may feel the stiffness, the soreness, cramps kind of creeping in. I think it's better, if you can, at least it was for me and my body in this experience, to try to keep running, try to keep jogging, try to keep moving. Don't slow down, don't stop if you can help it, because that is when you suddenly become very aware of all the little aches and pains. It was just kind of a mantra towards the end, just keep putting one foot in front of the other. At one point I remember I was going so slow in my jog, where I'm just like barely going, that I remember thinking, like, if an old man with a walker was next to me, I'm sure he would be going faster than me. And I knew I was going slow, but I just had to keep telling myself, put one foot in front of the other, put one foot in front of the other. And if I keep doing that, I have to get there. I will finish. It may not be at my best time, but I will finish if I just keep putting one foot in front of the other, keep putting one foot in front of the other, and trying to get myself to go a little bit faster, just a little bit faster. Nothing crazy. I'm not sprinting or anything, but just trying to go from that walk jog pace I had going on, because I was getting pretty miserable, to an actual jog pace, which was all mental, just pushing myself and digging deep. I thought about that a lot during the run. Just dig deep, dig deep. That I know I have it in me to do it. And I can't listen to my calves right now. I can do it. So these are some of the lessons that I learned, some takeaways. It was a good experience. Like I said, I would definitely do it again. Feeling pretty good today. Didn't feel horrible yesterday. Felt, definitely pretty bad, but it could have been worse. I think I have been worse after some other workouts. Most people probably can't say that. That was pretty bad. But today feels good. So that was my experience doing my own personal 26.1 miles. Didn't like my time, but I'm proud of myself for doing it, sticking with it. And I don't know, I hope you guys are inspired, or maybe this answered some questions for you about what it's like. If you have other questions or comments, you can definitely put them in the comments below. If you haven't already, guys, make sure to subscribe to the channel, give it a like for this video. And as always, I want to thank each and every one of you that watch these videos. Thanks so much.